both the camera and I are having a hard time focusing today. So, anyways, that's a quick note. Okay, welcome back. I'm not going to talk about Xala too much. I kind of am more interested, well, I am more interested to hear what you all think, and so I think it's easier to kind of have especially with the film, a kind of conversation once I have something to kind of sort of ping off of. So I'll look to see what your thoughts are on the discussion board. But what I will say is, what kind of is, sort of immediately kind of evident about the film is its sort of really scathing and ruthless critique, right, of a sort of image of the society, of Senegalese society, even like well after colonization, and so well deep into decolonization, and clearly kind of mirroring things that Sembene himself sort of says in the interview that we read for today. But I do want you to kind of, I guess that's what I'll do, is I'll kind of prime you to think about the critique of the film, the orientation of the critique of the film, in what way that critique kind of unfolds, who it's aimed at, and how that kind of comparatively looks different from the sort of critiques that we might be more used to. And more specifically, I do think that it really, gets the film sort of encapsulates and really manifests a lot of the sort of critiques of post-colonialism, and a lot of the ideas that we've already talked about, especially kind of Fanon's ideas, especially of like the kind of nature of colonialism, and especially like the psychic space, and what it does to both the colonizer and the colonized, right? And just the fact that the film's so unflinching about that, and whether it's the relationship between the disparate characters along the class lines, along the gender lines, and there are like a few key lines that I think really stood out, and I think for one is the notion that, like, you think you're all Europeans, that comes up a few times, or even near the end with the meeting of the group in El Hadji, this kind of idea of like act civilized, and of course the way that Wolof and French function without, even after calling that, what you think about is like, why is French the official language in Senegal, right, in West Africa? Why are these people speaking French? Why are they insistent on speaking French? When Sembene comes to Madison, Wisconsin, why is he speaking French? They had to translate into English for the crowd, but why is it French and English, right? Why wasn't he able to speak Wolof? These are the kind of questions that I would like us to kind of entertain. Okay, so I didn't do this earlier. I'm going to do it now, which means the three kind of major points for today, and then I'll edit it in earlier, and you'll probably have noticed anyway, which is why I'm saying I'm doing it. But one, again, colonialism, but colonialism after decolonization. So what Sembene refers to himself as neo-colonization, but also kind of related to this, just the politics of international cinema. And a broader question is, how do films get distributed? What films get seen? What films get circulated? And why is it that the French government would not want Ousmane Sembene's films to be seen, right? In relation to that, critique and its relationship to art, right? So whether it's like how we're talking about volatile works or critique as attack, again, I've kind of said throughout the semester, people and we ourselves tend to kind of like to throw the term art around, but what do we mean, and how does that differ from, for example, the very kind of explicit and thoroughly developed concept of art as a particular thing in the practice of someone like Ousmane Sembene, right? And in relation to that, just thinking about the kind of terms of critique for Sembene, like the kind of relationship, not only with the colonial power, but the critique, the self-critique, the auto-critique, namely of Senegalese society, right? And especially in terms of auto-critique, especially in terms of class and gender, right? The film is not kind, right, to its protagonist, which is, again, kind of different from what we're used to seeing. Okay.